2021 is likely to be the worst humanitarian crisis year since the start of the United Nations 75 years ago, World Food Programme Chief David Beasley warns. The shutdowns will kill millions of the world's poorest people. The cure must not be worse than the virus. It turned out it is. The population is growing. Poor people keep having children they can't afford to support. Migration from one desperate country to another soon to be depressed by the ever-growing horde. The UN World Food Programme was the winner of the Nobel Peace Prize in 2020, and the head of that agency is warning of the potential for absolutely devastating famines around the globe in 2021. The lockdowns that were instituted all over the world this year created tremendous hardship in many wealthy countries, but in poorer nations, the economic devastation has created alarming waves of hunger. There was hope that things would get better when lockdowns were being lifted, but now a new round of lockdowns is being imposed, and many experts are warning about what this could mean for those living in deep poverty. David Beasley was absolutely thrilled when his agency was given the Nobel Peace Prize because all of the attention has given him more opportunities to ask for money. Because without a massive influx of money, he says that we are going to see famines of biblical proportions in 2021. The perfect recipe for a global financial reset. The Great Reset world leaders, globalists, and technocrats are talking about a one-world currency. Welcome back to the Atlantis Report. You are here for your daily dose of the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Please take a second to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to also hit the notification bell. Many of you have asked me where they can buy silver and gold bullion. You will find in the description box the links where you can buy American Silver Eagle, silver bars, or rounds. I highly recommend that you start stacking some silver bullion for the future. In America, 34 million Americans are in poverty, including 12 million children, while the richest 400 individuals have $3.2 trillion in wealth. Millions of Americans don't have enough money to feed their families. People are out of work, short of cash, and looking to food banks to fill the table. An Associated Press analysis of data provided by food banks in the Feeding America network found a nearly 60% increase in the amount of food distributed since the pandemic began. The fourth quarter of 2020 will be the drop-off for so many businesses. More than 500,000 restaurants are at risk of closing amid the economic free fall. That's what happens when you shut down the economy. The government shut down restaurants, not the virus. The reset is working masterfully. They don't care about the small business, they want them to shut down permanently and workers to be without jobs and without government stimulus relief. Why do you think they always have an excuse not to send a stimulus package to millions of struggling, suffering Americans? They don't care about America or Americans. Actions speak louder than words and empty lies. Those causing the closing are still getting their salaries. This is tyranny, people. How can our politicians live in the lap of luxury while we unwashed masses are forbidden to work? Meanwhile, politicians continue to live their lives and travel and attend parties and go to restaurants and take off the mask as soon as cameras are off. This won't change until politicians lose their income. Furlough every politician today and this problem will find a solution immediately. The politicians can't solve our problems because they are the problem. They are seeking to destroy small businesses in America. What better way to pick up some business, close them, let them go broke, then buy them for a song? This is the greatest wealth transfer in world history. They will destroy everything and force us to be solely dependent on government handouts. The end result is total reliance on the government. Governors are closing private businesses, which prevents people from financially supporting themselves. The trickle-down effects of this will be far-reaching across many job markets and manufacturing facilities. California, for example, is still shutting down entire sectors of private businesses and expecting people to survive on unemployment handouts. Meanwhile, in Ohio, there are sanitation restrictions, but private businesses are not being forced to close. The current illusion of capitalism that America is operating under is 100% immoral. People don't think anything is wrong here, that our billionaires got even richer through this pandemic. This country is broken. 15 days to flatten the curve morphed into indefinite lockdowns, with studies showing the lockdowns made things worse. Hospitals cannot deal with the overflow. No beds, not enough PPE. Medical on the verge of collapse. We just printed 40% of our money into existence in the last 8 months. We will all be millionaires before this is over. More proof that the billions these states got didn't go to the people, or you wouldn't be seeing such huge breadlines miles long. $900 billion new stimulus bipartisan bill is almost $3,000 per American. The fact that Americans see $0 in the latest version of the bill underscores that Congress is merely stuck debating whose corruption is more important. This new stimulus deal is not going to help families. Not one single family will get any help, but this new stimulus bill will send billions to states and municipalities that are broke to bail them out temporarily. If Congress was going to help American families, they would be sending out another $1,200 stimulus check. I guess Congress needs to starve hurting Americans a little longer before helping poor people. Money doesn't always mean you have access to food, is my point. It will get worse until the average citizen of this world recognizes who the real terrorists are. Millions of Americans don't have enough to eat, but the stock market is hitting all-time highs. It's so easy for good hard-working people and families to fall through the cracks. I can't even imagine doing everything you can to survive financially, and lose your house or get booted out of your apartment. It's happening all over the place. Under man's corrupt system, you never really own your house outright. 17 million Americans are behind on mortgage or rent payments, and nearly 6 million Americans say they are at risk of eviction in the next few months. Nearly 1 in 10 companies are planning layoffs in the next 3 months. That's on top of the more than a quarter of U.S. companies that have already let workers go in Q4. There is also the looming prospect of more corporate bankruptcies and business closures, putting more pressure on the jobs market. More than 420,000 small businesses have closed their doors permanently since the beginning of the pandemic. That represents a staggering 7.1% of all small businesses. Brookings estimates that the U.S. economy has lost some 4 million jobs in the small business sector, that will only return with the creation of new businesses. On top of all this, Goldman Sachs projects even more permanent job losses coming down the pike as a wave of mergers, acquisitions, and corporate takeovers sweeps through the economy. Toilet paper, disinfectant, and groceries are already flying off the shelves across the United States as states are forced to yet again impose strict coronavirus lockdowns amid a worrying surge in cases. We are in the middle of a huge push by the globalists to take over America. Oh, they have been trying for 50 years now, but they are pushing harder now that they see that many freedoms have been taken away already due to the pandemic. The Federal Reserve is the most significant criminal empire on the face of the earth. The problem is, most believe it's part of the government and not a private bank. I think that a stampede for sustenance would come before a stampede for a vaccine. Globally, famine is already knocking on the door for a dozen countries. It would be nice if everyone at the bottom end got a little bigger slice of the pie going forward, but the world has never headed willingly in that direction, sadly. Perhaps there is a tipping point. We simply cannot accept a world in which the poor and marginalized are trampled by the rich and powerful. But in reality, the rich, powerful people routinely trampled on the poor and marginalized regularly in most places throughout history. To say that you can't accept a world like that is like saying you can't accept reality. Now, having said that, it would be nice if the world was a more equitable place, and working toward a more equitable world would be a good thing. But make no mistake. If we manage to make wealth distribution equitable for all regardless of wealth or status, it would be the historical exception, not the norm. There are many people struggling in America, but talk to any business owner, any human resources person about hiring and keeping employees. Americans no longer want a job. They want a paycheck, a free ride at someone else's expense. The socialist programs starting with Lyndon Johnson have turned our nation into a welfare society. Tax burdens on the little guy much larger than those that triggered the American Revolution. The creation of mega-corporations that pay few taxes, banks that pay no interest on your money but pay unholy wages to top executives. America is intentionally being destroyed by a system that is both supercapitalism and socialism. Instead of a three-class America, it will be a two-class system with the very rich governing the slave class. Elections may still be held but will already have been decided. You will have no voice. I have been preaching the message of what is coming upon America for many years. I have been warning people that the time to scale back and get out of debt was yesterday. Many have laughed and mocked, but soon many will be scared sheetless and be dead broke, and probably hungry. Too many have wasted too much and tried to live above their means for way too long. Now those crowing chickens are coming home to roost. If you can, this is a good year to donate to a food bank. The need is great. America, the wealthiest country in the world, still has to depend on the dwindling middle class to solve our food insecurity problem. This was the Atlantis report. Please like, share, leave me a comment, subscribe. And please take some time to subscribe to my backup channels. I do upload videos there too. You'll find the links in the description box. You will also find a PayPal link if you want to make a donation. Thank you wholeheartedly to all those of you who have already donated. Stay safe and healthy, friends.